Very good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. This is my second speech as part of my Pathways, and my speech is about some research topic. So I have tried to get some insights onto the emerging technologies and selected blockchain as my topic for the day. We all have experienced the evolution of internet, the way it has changed all the business models and our day-to-day lives. So what are the next upcoming technologies which may have that kind of impact on the way business are running currently and the way we are doing our activities in terms of financial transactions or interactions? So I tried to get some information from Gartner's chart, which predicts like the top 10 technologies which may have huge impact on the way the currently business is running, and it may change in the future. So one of them is the blockchain. Basically, blockchain is a cryptography based technology where there is no middleman or single point of failure. All the interactions happens through cryptography or mathematically. The verification process happens through cryptography. Now let's try to get a high-level view or a bird-eye view of the technology. To understand this technology, let us take an example. Assume everybody in this building are connected to the blockchain network and everyone has their digital wallet. Along with wallet, they have a private key. Each person has a private key which is confidential to that person. Along with the private key, there is an equivalent public key which can be exposed to anybody on the network to verify that if a particular message is signed by the owner of the private key or not. In blockchain, there is another set of users called miners. These miners have the large computational power, like huge computers which can process large amounts of data, and they are spread across various parts of the world. We can compare them like Uber cab drivers. Anyone can join the network, perform the mining, and whenever they want, they can turn off their machines. Now, for the sake of understanding, let us assume everyone in this room is a miner who has an individual large computer which can process these digital transactions or the cryptography transactions to decode them and process them. Now let's move on to the next step to understand how an example works. We can imagine one person called Alice wants to transfer certain value to another person, Bob, in this building. So Alice is going to take the public key of the Bob and provide a transaction saying that I would like to transfer $10 to Bob, lock it with the public key of the Bob, and sign that transaction with the private key of Alice as in the form of a digital signature. Now this transaction is ready to transfer. Now when this transaction is transferred, all the miners in this group would get a copy of a scrambled Rubik cube or a cryptographic transaction. Now everyone has their computers ready and are waiting for the transaction to be processed. All the miners would compete with each other to solve that cryptographic puzzle. So when all the miners compete to solve that puzzle, one of them would solve it first. The miner who solves it first would again broadcast a message to all the rest of the miners saying, hey, I have solved this puzzle. To verify, you can use this code. And it is very easy step for remaining miners, as we can look at the solved Rubik cube and say whether it is solved correctly or not. So that would be a quick process. So when 51% or more miners confirm that yes, this transaction is solved successfully by a miner X, they would say, yes, this transaction is legitimate and it is ready for the receiver to claim the amount. As one of the miners has successfully solved it, that miner would get a fee from the sender's amount. This is one transaction story. So in the blockchain, there is a block added after every 10 minutes. Each block consists of transactions occurred in the last 10 minutes. So all these transactions are clubbed together into a block, and a cryptography algorithm is run on top of that to create a hash, and it is linked with a previous block. So this is how blockchain is formed. So every block is linked to the previous block's hash, and it has a unique value created through cryptography with the transactions that were clubbed as part of the transaction. So what is the advantage of this blockchain? Let us take a real-time use case to compare with the current use case and the proposed one. Remittance is a cross-border transfer of money. So as per World Bank, every year around $660 billion is transferred between various accounts in the form of remittance.